How good are you at picking up on those subtle changes in mood? Or do you just dismiss difficult behaviour as the other person being a bit awkward? You can learn about leadership, you can study business strategy, you can study negotiation. However, all this knowledge won't prepare you for the emotional impact of a really difficult and tense meeting. It won't prepare you for the awkward silence and that anxiety when you're having a difficult conversation with someone. And it won't prepare you for the gut feeling you get when you start to think that something is not quite right with this perfect candidate when you're interviewing for a job. Here's an analogy. It's a bit like reading a book about farming. You learn about animals and crop rotation and that kind of stuff, but nothing will prepare you for the stink you get when you first walk into a cowshed. Work and organisations are very similar. Knowledge is important, but it's emotions that make things happen, that drive things forward. When emotions take over at work, here's what happens. Stress depletes mental energy. This makes it much more difficult to think clearly and make good decisions. Workplace conflict activates the brain's threat response mode, which results in quick, impulsive decisions rather than calm, reflective thought. Also, don't forget that stress and anxiety is contagious. A stressed leader results in a stressed team and a stressed organisation. Most business books and most advice on business tend to ignore the role of emotions. Now, emotions have an enormous impact on team cohesion, on engagement, on decision making, in fact, on everything that goes on in a business. First, when you're making a decision, when you're having a discussion in a team, notice when emotions are pushing logic out of the decision making process. You need both to make a good decision, but they need to be balanced. Be aware and think about any tension, any awkward feelings that you notice in meetings. The next thing to do is to make a real effort to be aware of your own feelings, to understand where these feelings are coming from, but also to manage these feelings. If you do this, you'll be modelling emotional competence. And what will happen is your team will start to mirror this. If you can remain thoughtful and composed, your team is likely to behave in a similar manner. You can't see the stink of a cowshed, but if you've ever been in a cowshed, you'll realise that it permeates everything. Emotions in organisations are exactly the same. You can't see them, but they influence everything that goes on at work, for better or for worse. If you ignore this and don't try to actively understand the emotional undercurrents at work, eventually you'll find that emotions are managing the workplace and they're probably managing you as well.